Hello and welcome back to Resident Evil 5, where today we're probably finishing off the main story. Starting the stream earlier than usual. Because I can, really, and because we've got files to read, which aren't in records. They're in library. We've got almost all the files. Jill Valentine is who mattered last time. Listed within this file is a general background information overview of former STARS agent Jill Valentine, as pieced together from various sources. The information listed here is neither complete nor should it be used as a psychological analysis of the subject. When a crisis situation arises, few soldiers excel to the level of Jill Valentine. She is proficient in the use of various firearms, is a master at lockpicking, and is skilled in the disposal of explosives. You know, some people would say she's a master of unlocking. Jill's talents make her an integral component of any fighting force. Like Chris Redfield, Jill was a member of the STARS Alpha team. She was also involved in the tragedy at the Arclay Research Facility, also known as the Mansion Incident. During the incident, Jill and Chris operated independently, but together discovered the truth behind the facility. They learned that Barry Burton was not really a traitor, but was being controlled by Albert Wesker, captain of Alpha Team. In addition to Wesker's machinations, they also learned the source of the zombie outbreak was due to the release of the T-virus, and that Umbrella was more than just an ordinary pharmaceutical company. What Jill learned at the Arclay Research Facility would have profound repercussions on the rest of her life. Following their return from the mansion, Chris and Jill attempted to inform the authorities of Umbrella's activities. For all their good intentions, they were met with no movement towards any official investigation into the company. Fed up with the lack of response, the two took it upon themselves to investigate Umbrella. They concentrated their efforts on Umbrella's main base of operations in Europe. As a STARS member entrusted with protecting Raccoon City, Jill chose to remain in the city for the time being and investigate the Umbrella research facility there before rendezvousing with Chris in Europe. This decision led to her involvement in the Raccoon City incident. During her investigation, rodents infected with the T-virus from the Arclay Research Facility began to spread the virus into the city. The virus quickly spread, infecting a majority of the residents. Umbrella, the perpetrators behind the incident, reacted swiftly. Umbrella sent in the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service, UBCS, to handle the situation, and they also dispatched the bioweapon Nemesis T-Type to take out any surviving STARS members, who Umbrella now considered a threat. Jill attempted to escape from Raccoon City, all the while being hunted by the Nemesis T-Type. During this time, she encountered a member of the UBCS team, Carlos Oliveira. Or Oliveira? Carlos claimed his team was on a rescue mission to save any survivors in Raccoon City. Having no reason to doubt that mission's purpose, he proposed to help Jill escape. Jill, on the other hand, had her doubts. However, the situation had reached critical proportions and Jill did not have the luxury of time. The US government was planning on containing the spread of the virus by launching a special missile strike on the city called Operation Bacillus Terminate. When Jill became infected with the T-virus as a result of the Nemesis T-type, she despaired of ever being able to get out alive. Fortunately for her, Carlos was there to help. Carlos obtained a cure to the T-virus infection and gave it to Jill. After her recovery, she worked with Carlos and they successfully escaped from Raccoon City. In 2003, after Operation Talos, Jill and Chris became two of the original 11 founding members of the BSAA and joined them in their fight against bioweapons and bioterrorism around the world. And this means that the bonus story in Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles is canon. Chris and Jill stopped bioweapons in Asia, destroyed bioweapon labs in South America, arrested smugglers in Europe, and patrolled the world in an attempt to stamp out all bioweapons and give us more opportunities to make spin-off games if we want to. Throughout their activities, while they may have suspected the long fingers of Umbrella as being involved, they never had any conclusive proof. Those long fingers, however, would turn out to be connected to the hands of Umbrella's founder, Oswell E. Spencer. The pair received intel on Spencer's whereabouts and rushed off to arrest him, only to find their former captain and hated enemy, Albert Wesker. Seeing Spencer's crumpled corpse on the ground, the two changed their plans to arrest Wesker instead. In a 2-on-1 fight, Chris and Jill should have had the advantage, but Wesker's strength and agility were well beyond that of any normal human. For all their training, Jill and Chris were no match for Wesker. As Wesker was about to end Chris's life, Jill made the ultimate sacrifice. Lunging at Wesker, she threw both herself and him out a window and over the side of a cliff. Chris could do nothing as he watched his partner fall to her death. BSAA launched a full-scale search operation, but neither Jill's body nor any of her personal effects were ever recovered. On November 23, 2006, Jill Valentine was officially declared dead, and her name was added to the list of BSAA members who died in the line of duty. But Jill's story did not end there. The fall did not kill Jill nor Wesker. Though badly hurt and unconscious, Jill was saved by Wesker. After giving her the medical treatment she required, he placed her in a cryogenic sleep. Once the Ouroboros plan was finalized, Wesker intended to use her as the first test subject. This was Wesker's way of exacting his revenge. Fortunately for Jill, luck was on her side. The apparatus monitoring her vital signs detected some abnormalities. Something was happening inside Jill's body, and Wesker's curiosity was piqued. Further investigation showed that a mutated form of the T-virus was still inside her body. It was a remnant from her infection in Raccoon City. The cure she was given was supposed to have eradicated all traces of the virus in her body, but instead it caused the virus to go into a dormant state. Her extended period in a cryogenic sleep somehow reactivated the virus. Shortly after being reactivated, the T-virus completely disappeared from her body, but it left something else in its place. Wesker found that Jill's body now contained powerful antibodies to the virus. All those years the T-virus was inside her body forced it to develop a defense system that was nothing short of miraculous. This discovery would help further Wesker's ambitions. The development of the Ouroboros virus, the centerpiece of the Ouroboros plan, had proven to be quite difficult. The Ouroboros virus, developed from the progenitor flower, proved to be too poisonous to humans to be of much use. Instead of spurring the next step in human evolution, it only invited death. Wesker theorized that using Jill's antibodies could make the virus less poisonous. He kept Jill alive solely to produce antibodies for his research. I guess the Ouroboros and T-virus must be pretty similar if those antibodies could do anything for Ouroboros. Jill, who had reviled bioweapons and devoted her life to eradicating them, was ironically being used to develop the most terrible bioweapon of all. After much research and experimentation, Wesker finally perfected the Ouroboros virus. Jill's participation in its development meant she was no longer a suitable test subject. Pure and unadulterated antibodies with high resistance to the virus permeated her body. Wesker decided he would find a suitable use for her elsewhere. During the research into the progenitor virus, an ancillary chemical was discovered. The researchers referred to it as simply P30. When administered to test subjects, it would not only give them superhuman strength, but also rendered them highly susceptible to control. P30 was the ultimate performance enhancer. The aims of the Ouroboros plan were to create a new breed of humans, so P30's application in this plan was inconsequential. However, for the time being, it could be marketed as a product and garner additional funding. Research into creating the ultimate soldier who didn't resist orders was carried out simultaneously on Las Plagas and P30. Unfortunately, the latter had a severe drawback. The effects of P30 would only last for a very short time. An injection of P30 was metabolized and expelled by the body at an expeditious rate, requiring re-administration of the drug at frequent intervals. This greatly lessened the viability of such a product as a long-term performance enhancer. The only counter to such a drawback was to attach a device to the subject that would continually administer the drug. While P30's effects were brief, it was still a powerful and effective drug. The effects of continual administration were untested, so in order to research this aspect further, an administration device was attached to Jill. An external device was attached to Jill's chest that would continually administer the drug to her body. With her free will constantly being usurped, she remained a servant to Excella and Wesker until Chris and Sheva destroyed the administration device. And now we know why Jill was serving Wesker. So, it's time to actually get back to the game, so let's do that thing. Okay, we have got inventory management. And this Heart of Africa we got from beating Wesker in his 7 minutes. It was all the time he could afford to spend playing with us, you know. Don't know what Wesker was doing with Africa's heart, but he had it. Now to get 5 magnum bullets. And some handgun bullets. And some bullets for Sheva, too. We're kind like that. More firepower. More firepower. And I think we're honestly pretty good at that point. Do that. And yeah. We have way too much shotgun ammo. And unfortunately, it only stacks in 30s. There, that ought to give us enough firepower to deal with most things. I feel like the grenade launcher might not be the worst thing to bring, though. Because if we do encounter a Reaper, it would suck to not have it. Yeah. And it'll probably be a little while before we actually want the Magnum, so... There. And what's on sale now? That machine gun. And that rifle. And a weaker Magnum that shoots faster. And for some reason holds fewer bullets than a revolver. Flame rounds. Eh. Let's go.
This ship is huge. Do you think they're planning to use it to spread Ouroboros?
No. Using a ship like this would give away their position too soon. They must have another plan.
Hello, sir. Goodbye, sir. Hello, sir. You're the one who was in trouble there. Who's tossing grenades? Okay, so dude's got a fully bulletproof vest. But it is not footproof. Oh, okay. I guess that works. Hey, Wolfkinson. Might as well climb up here. hello, sir. Hey, maybe don't throw grenades so close? And of course, Chris and Sheva, like Leon, have invincible legs. And we came from that way, so we're going this way. Damn it. Of course. Why did I pick that up?
Thanks, partner.
Come on!
She's going to use it immediately, but... Chris, how on earth did you manage to break the left and the right without the middle? Also, yeah. She used the green herb right before we got a red. Can we be king of the world? No. Wow, they really want me using rifle ammo. Guess I shouldn't disappoint them.
Come on!
Get off her. Interesting. Had to shoot the dog. Like, actually between the halves of its head, rather than in half of its head. Oh boy, another red herb. He's gonna explode, Sheva. Okay, that's actually not an explosion. So yeah, this guy, as you might guess, has a very hard head ball thing. And also can kill you instantly.
You need to be careful.
But his tail is soft. Ow.
Are you okay?
I would love to just be able to take some pot shots at his tail. And Sheva, it is not helping when you keep on trying to stick next to me like that. Like, this enemy was designed to have one person on one side acting as bait, the other person on the other side shooting the tail. That is the explicit design for this enemy. Also, wow, they can grab from pretty far away. Yeah, that's the explicit design for this enemy. That is how it is meant to be taken down. And yet, the AI tells Sheva, hey, you know what you should do? You should stand right next to Chris.
Come on! Roger!
What's the button to swap her behavior?
Hold on!
Thanks, partner.
Yeah, yeah. This game's AI is very, very dumb. It's explicitly making this a harder fight because of how it functions.
Come on!
Roger.
Oh, you're out of space, are you? We'll make it work.
Give me a grenade.
Take this. Don't be reckless.
So,
Come on!
Okay.
Go!
Okay.
so if I set her to attack, that might actually change it.
Okay.
Hopefully it will. Because, yeah, this is
You grab it.
Okay.
a pretty not great method of dealing with things when playing solo.
You grab it.
Okay.
Well, nope, can't go further that way. So I guess we're going this way.
Take it.
Okay.
I would love to find another green herb just to have that source of healing available. That is one pressed button. Oh no, it's locked and I need a key card.
Take it.
Roger.
Honestly, you know what?
Go!
Okay.
She's got enough machine gun ammo she can afford to be in attack mode. Oh no, Sheva is trapped in a cage. Thanks for just giving me that, Sheva. Of course. Oh no. So I need to stay away from that, because if it grabs me, Sheva can't get to me to heal me. So Sheva, maybe if you shot it anywhere other than the big freaking shield, you would actually do damage to it, huh? You ever think about that, Sheva? Are you not dead? You're not dead. Did I need to shoot it inside the open bit? Oh, looks like it's dead. So we've just got the Grenadier up here. And now we don't.
We need to move this container. They should.
Yeah. Need to get up there, though. And how do you propose I do that when you're trapped in there? Can I Like, I feel like Chris should be able to go up this plank, but he can't. Oh, I need to shoot it. The answer to everything is bullets. Also, I saw that medal. Hey, buddy. Kaboom. Oh no, Sheva's using her bullets. That means there's something in there. Oh, dogs. Looks like she's fine on her own at this point. Damn it. There. Okay. How to take the long path down.
I'm not going on without you. Come on.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to.
Come on.
So how about you come down here and grab some ammo and... Oh, the herb despawned, didn't it? It did. Or, no, did she... No, she's got a red. So yeah, the herb despawned. That's a shame. I should have gotten rid of something.
Roger.
This ammo here is for you too, Sheva.
You grab it.
Okay.
You know you need it.
Come on.
And because I feel bad leaving shotgun shells on the floor, you're taking those too. Sheva no longer has the ammo to afford being on cover mode. Or on attack mode, rather. Yeah. Cover mode it is. Stop giving me rifle ammo. I want to get less rifle ammo.
Grab it.
Okay.
That's why I've been using it. I haven't been using it because I love it. I've been using it because I am too full on ammo for it.
Take it.
Roger.
And why are we hopscotching over here? For a safe. I hear another guy. Damn it. He's stuck over there. We don't have to care. Oh, also he's exploding. No worries about falling asleep, Wolfkinson. It happens. The human condition is a fickle one. That guy really wants to come after us. Sure is a shame his helmet can block sniper shots. Oh, hello, big man. Hello, miss. These big men don't last long.
Come on.
Okay.
Hey, Sheva, I brought you over here so that you could... Really, you had to grab the bangle on the way? No, Sheva, come back.
Come on.
Roger.
You still haven't done what I wanted you here for.
You grab it.
Roger.
Because bullets are the answer to everything. I should have been on that side. Oh, hello, dog. Down, boy. Oh, hello. Almost got full use out of that ammo drop, I think. How many dogs are there? Do they just keep respawning or something? Every time I jump down, there's another dog.
Take it.
Okay.
Take it.
Roger.
Sheva, you really need to be more proactive about grabbing this machine gun ammo.
You grab it.
I do not have a machine gun. It's literally all you.
Come on.
Roger.
Sheva, you really need to stick to me better. Like, I know earlier I was complaining about how you were sticking to me too much, but, like, there's different situations. You realize this, right? Sometimes it's better for you to stick to me, and sometimes it's better for you to not. Oh, really? I wanted to jump down, not across. Of course, now I'm going to need Sheva to lower and raise a thing for me.
Come on.
Roger.
But we can do it for one another.
Come on.
Roger.
Sorry to say, Wolfkinson, but no, you cannot pet the horrible mutant dog.
I need ammo.
Take this.
Sheva!
I need ammo.
Take this.
Give me the one that I actually requested, damn it.
Give me a weapon.
Use this.
Okay.
Give me a grenade.
Use this.
There we go. There, now she gets to go that way. That dog. Okay, it's dead. Is it dead forever, or is there going to be another one now that I look? Also, we haven't been back here. There's another one. But it didn't come from the same place. Hey, Sheva, you know how it would be cool if you were, you know, hanging out with me? I'm glad I can fire the weapon before we actually get into the scope. For real though, Sheva, you should hang out with me except in such circumstances where there's an enemy that is literally designed for us to be on opposite sides of it. Instead of standing here by yourself like a tool. Seriously, this game's AI is so terrible.
Take it.
Okay.
You grab it.
Okay.
And immediate use. All right, nothing else up here. Down we go. Oh. Oddly well-lit boxes.
Roger.
That's how you know they're destructible.
This tanker is so big. It won't be easy finding Wesker.
That won't be a problem. Once he knows we're here, he'll find us.
And how do you know that?
Let's just say we have a history together, and he's not the type to let grudges go.
You must have done something to really piss him off.
It goes a bit beyond just pissing him off.
So, are you going to tell me what happened?
Maybe. But not until after we put an end to all this. Deal?
Okay, but I'm holding you to that.
Hello. A shotgun.
You grab it.
Okay.
So, if that's like Resident Evil 4, that shotgun has a wider spray than most, fires much faster than any other, and holds much more ammo than any other, but isn't particularly impressive strength-wise.
Freeze!
What's going on here? Nothing that concerns either of you. We're not giving you an option. Now spit it out.
Tell us what we want to know and you won't get hurt. Where's Wesker?
If you can behave yourselves, maybe I'll tell you.
Damn it!
She's tough. I'll give her that much. What's this? Chris, is this...
Whatever it is, Excella seemed protective of it.
It's amazing how much worse of a shot Chris and Sheva are in cutscenes. Like, I get why. If they just managed to headshot every enemy that they encountered in a cutscene, this game would be over a lot faster. But still. So we can't power on the other one, but this one we can. Tricell Researcher Miguel's Journal, number 2. May 8th. Our current aim is to develop a virus that surpasses the potential of both the G virus and the T Veronica virus. We need to eliminate extreme mutations, mental atrophy, and instability in the virus. We were told not to be concerned with retention and rejection rates, but even still, overcoming these 3 problems is going to be a challenge. Of course, all that is really only a problem for regular researchers. I'm already on the cusp of overcoming 2 of the problems. The third is proving to be a bit trickier, so I may have to resort to some alternative methods. Sometimes I frighten myself with my own ingenuity. Tricell is fortunate to have someone of my intelligence on their payroll. Ah, yes, people who talk like that are always just great people to have in your employ. Here's those flowers again. Just how much more research do flowers need? How much research, rather? And how would these flowers like it if I smashed their glass? Oh, hello. It only starts holding 5? Damn. Here's an idea.
Take this.
Sheva, you have a shotgun in your inventory right now. But okay, there you go. I didn't freaking drop my rifle ammo so that you could load me up with shotgun ammo. Well, I guess she might have thought I did because I'm holding my shotgun right now. I don't like this guy. The fact that it's giving us the option to take cover means guns are about to be involved. Sir, I don't like you either. And I don't think you're friendly. And I don't see any other dudes, but apparently they noticed us. Well, at least he put his gun down. Okay, onward. I guess it's time to actually hop down there. And we cannot go back up, which is why nobody made a move to try and get us after their head became a plaga.
Come on!
Okay.
Come on!
Roger.
Oh, she can't have any more handgun ammo? Wow, Sheva, way to just stand there and take that. And incoming full heal, or not.
You need to be careful.
Where'd the grenade come from? You? Sheva, shoot him in the grenades. He'll explode.
Come on! Roger. Take it.
Okay.
Probably should have. Okay, never mind. I shouldn't have had her take the handgun ammo first, because she was just going to use the herb right away.
Use this.
What did you just give me? There.
Take it.
Roger.
Nice try, dude. I love the way they look when they just poke their heads up like that. It's hilarious. Especially because the lack of, like, lips just gives them that silly rictus grin. Oh, sorry. Did we trade places? You want to come back down here? You didn't even drop anything. What's the point of you? Ow. Back away, Sheva. Of course. Ah, yes, one of these in a thin hallway where there's no room to maneuver behind it. Yeah, I'm holding on. I was just hoping that that last shot would actually get the thing. My bad. We could just climb up now. Let's just climb up now. Because that guy ain't built for climbing. Uh-oh. Where is he? Okay, I'm apparently in plenty of cover right now. Sheva, you are lucky he was apparently exclusively going for me. So it looks like every third shot flinches this dude. Or not. Sheva. Got him. We don't even get a treasure. We had to kill him. So we definitely want this. And she's using it immediately. Way to go, Sheva. What are you going to do if we find a freaking red herb right now? Also, hey, we managed to get rid of our rifle ammo. I see a safe up there. How does one get to it? Don't use this one right away, Sheva. It's cute that they give us a mine.
Give me a grenade.
They expected us to not kill the machine gunner before needing to retreat.
Take it.
Okay.
And apparently we needed that too. What are you going over there for? Oh, she's... Sheva, what are you doing? Is she going to go through the loop again? No? Okay. Hang on a sec. I'm sorry, this is a video game. You're supposed to be able to shoot out surveillance cameras. Of course there's a rocket launcher. Okay. So apparently he can take a rocket to the groin, no trouble.
Come on.
Roger.
Take it.
Roger. Are you okay?
Why do they all have dead brides? Actually, I guess we saw a file about how it killed all of their women. So, that's why.
So, you've made it this far. Too bad you won't make it much further.
A new superior breed of humans, given birth by the progenitor virus. The WESKER children were entrusted with endless potential. Of them, only one survived. You.
Are you saying I was manufactured
creating a new world with an advanced race of human beings. However, all was lost with Raccoon City. Despite that setback, your creation still holds great significance. Now my candle burns dimly.
Oh no, not a dim candle.
Ironic, isn't it? For one who has the right to be a god. To face his own mortality.
The right to be a god. That right is now mine. The right to be a god. You. Arrogant even until the end. Only one truly capable of being a god deserves that right. The right. With Ouroboros, I have that right.
Spooky. Okay, time to shove these back into the inventory where they belong. So, how's this thing? Firepower is upsettingly low. And capacity also doesn't exceed the freaking shotgun we started with. I guess its firing rate is the only thing it can really write home about. And our rifle will never get stronger. Also, we're very low on all sorts of ammo right now. Except shotgun. We have more than enough shotgun ammo to last basically forever. It is weird that the only ammunition that you can buy by itself is grenade launcher ammo. It's just bizarre. Also, we don't have any heals. We might as well. Sure, why not? We've got money to burn. How many bullets is this handgun gonna hold? It's ludicrous. Also, we literally can never upgrade this thing again. There. So when we're upgrading reload speed, are we really just paying to train Chris to reload it better? Because that's got to be what's going on, right? Well, gee, that looks very pleasant and like a thing that will definitely not contain anything that is boss-like. Oh, yeah, especially since it's in a giant open area. No way there could be anything boss-like anywhere near it. Yup. Definitely not. No bosses here.
What the hell happened here? Excella, what's going on?
Why? When I've done so much. All for you.
Chris, how nice of you to join us.
Wesker.
Don't worry. Your mission is at its end. Ouroboros is on the eve of its appearance. 6 billion cries of agony will birth a new balance.
Sorry, Wesker, but not on my watch.
Albert! You said we change this world together! Why?
I thought they were partners.
Wesker doesn't give a damn about anybody but himself.
Soon, even you will understand, Chris. One glimpse of my new world, and it will all make perfect sense.
Show yourself!
Unfortunately, it's too late for you. You will not live to see the dawn. Sorry, Excella, but it appears Ouroboros has rejected you. Though you have been an excellent asset, I have one last task for you.
Albert!
What the hell?
Farewell, old friend.
That's right. QTEs. Because why would we fight a thing when we could mash buttons instead? Yep.
Persistent son of a bitch.
So now what? You think our weapons can hurt that thing?
I don't know. We gotta get the hell out of here before it destroys this place.
Why does it pull back after breaking through?
Tearing through the ship! We can't stay here!
Like, you would think it would be more effective if it just, you know, kept on oozing through and flooding the place for us.
Come on!
Roger.
You grab it.
Okay.
But I suppose it lacks intelligence. Oh, would you look at that? Can we open this one? We can. Though not for any reason. I sure do love that it gives a cutscene for each one we open, despite the fact that they may contain nothing. I don't trust you. But apparently I should have. I'm sorry.
Take it.
Okay.
Take it.
Roger.
Yeah, I think we're fine on shotgun shells even without that.
My God. Look how big it's become.
Yep, it's a chonker. Sir, who tossed you over here? And why do you all still have active zappy doos?
Give me a grenade.
Use this.
We have yet to use a flash in this game. Well, that wasn't ideal. Maybe we should have used flashes? But honestly,
Give me a grenade.
Take this.
I haven't really felt a need to.
Take it.
Okay.
I don't think a flash would work against those hard head tail guys. And like every other plaga is stupid easy to deal with. So, can't go through that door. Shame we can't hit this red thing. I don't think it's actually a button. I think it's just a light. So, I guess we're going this way then. Well, gee, what do you know? Don't do it. Damn it. Wow, you got a twofer there. Okay, that did nothing? Okay, yeah, open them up, shoot them inside. It's all good. And they open up if you shoot them in the legs enough to make them fall down, I guess. So these three didn't stand up? Why? They gonna stand up in a moment? The automatic navigation's been engaged. I can't operate it. But I can read this document. Report on Project W, August 28th, 1998. Wesker, do you just carry this around with you? I would have expected you to, like, you know, leave it where you found it. There's no reason for this to be on this boat. It has been confirmed that the accident at the Raccoon City Arclay Research Facility was due to the involvement of Project W test subject number 13, hereafter referred to as Albert. His death in the accident has made obtaining any further information an impossibility. Albert's death was confirmed by the Information Department. Albert's death puts the current success rate of Project W down to 18%. The quota of qualified individuals for the project has been drastically reduced and must be addressed immediately. This poses a grave situation for any progress that can hope to be made in the project. Since there is no roster of qualified individuals to replace the recent losses, it would be advisable to start selecting individuals from the pool of failed candidates. After this, adjustments can be made that will restore up to 93% of the quota prior to Albert's death. Umbrella Information Department, Alex W. Hey, we know who she is. She was in Revelations too. I can't operate the controls. They must be locked. Okay, but what about reading this book? Spencer's notebook. Another thing that Wesker just carries with him, I guess. I just received word that Raccoon City has been wiped out. The Americans finally took action against us. I hope the irony of using the very military machine that was supposed to protect them from foreign attackers to kill their own people is not lost on them. While the danger posed by the threat of the T-virus spreading was very real, I don't think Americans will easily forgive their government for the deaths of over 100,000 of their own people. You'd be very surprised, Spencer. Very surprised. If the truth of this matter is ever brought to light, support for the current administration will plummet. I don't think he wants that. Even a child can see that they will come after Umbrella with everything they have. To hide their own foolish mistakes, they will blame Umbrella for Raccoon City's annihilation. It would seem Umbrella will share Raccoon City's fate, but perhaps it will be to a lesser degree. Umbrella was nothing but a tool for the research of the progenitor virus. Even without that tool, the research still survives. Only Umbrella's lowly employees will be hurt by its dissolution. If the secret research involving the progenitor virus is protected, then I can always rebuild anew. I've already made preparations for such a plan. The research facility in Africa remains a secret, and it is there that the progenitor virus is produced, something that we didn't achieve until the late 80s. Only a handful of people in the company are even aware of the African facility's existence, thanks to our strict regulation of the flow of information. Only a minimum amount of personnel were ever transferred from Africa to other locations, and they were always closely monitored. Director Bailey has been confined to the African facility for almost 30 years, and even that has all been for this day. All that remains is to close that facility, and everything will go according to my plan. Once that facility is gone, all its connections to Umbrella will disappear with it. Then I will have to deal with anyone who has a level 10 security clearance, as they are the only ones who know of the African facility's existence. Everyone else will be summarily disposed of. My secrets will be protected. When one buries a treasure, one should not leave behind a map. A printout is stuck inside the notebook. It's a map! Personnel with access to company secrets. Oswell S., deceased. Oh, these are the level 10 people. Henning P., imprisoned. Masaki T., deceased. Jenny K., whereabouts unknown. Carlos M., found. Information obtained. Eliminated. Level 9. Brandon B., deceased. Frank E., deceased. Isabella C., deceased. Greg A., deceased. Lee D., deceased. Michael K., deceased. Ethan W., deceased. Ethan W.? That's a different Ethan W. than the one we play as in Resident Evil 7, I can tell you that much. Considering this was Resident Evil 5. And that Ethan W. wasn't one of Umbrella's people. I just realized they reused this exact bridge in Resident Evil 7. They might have reused, like, the whole boat design. No, not the whole boat design. But they definitely reused this bridge. I have stood in VR right here as one of the freaking quadruped molded dropped down right there, and it startled the hell out of me. It was the one time in Resident Evil 7 that actually prompted, like, a fear response. No! I remember that very clearly. It's in emergency mode. Guess that's why it's locked. Oh, hello. We want you. Sheva. Why, Sheva? Why can't I just request this grenade to be added to this stack? Why do I have to give her something in order to get that grenade, then combine it with my stack, and then get my thing back?
Take it.
Okay.
All the controls seem to be in working order, but it won't let me operate them. It's locked. I can't operate it. Sure is nice that it's not sending any tentacles through the roof at us anymore. This thing is gigantic. We have to take it out before it destroys the ship. Okay. I get it. Do you really have to pan the whole way across before we can... Okay. Satellite Laser Shango Operating Manual. The Shango satellite laser is operated by using a rocket launcher-style laser targeting device, LTD, that sends targeting coordinates to the satellite. The satellite is then capable of firing a highly concentrated laser to within centimeters of the target. Operation procedures. 1. Aim the LTD at the target to relay the coordinates to the satellite. 2. Once the target has been ascertained, the coordinates will be relayed. During the transmission, the target ring will appear red on the targeting scope. Note: if the targeting sensor's AI perceives that the target is no longer being tracked by the targeting scope, transmission of the coordinates will be cancelled. 3. When lock-on appears in the scope, it means the transmission has been successfully sent. Pulling the trigger will now activate the laser. 4. The firing cannon must be given time to recharge before it can be refired.
Satellite laser. We just might have a chance.
Yeah.
Targeting device is on the roof. Come on. There's no time to lose.
Wait, how do you know the targeting device is on the roof? The file didn't say that. So yeah, we're gonna kill this thing with space lasers.
You grab it.
Okay. Do you really think it can kill it?
Yeah, probably.
Over here! I found the satellite's targeting device. It's all on you, Chris. I've got your back. There it is! Fire!
Lasered. I would love to hit it again, but
Watch out! It's firing off some sort of projectile!
I'm charging. We're getting there, though. Hey, no, come back. Ow. What a jerk move. Sheva. Sheva! You're wasting your bullets. Oh, look at that. There's more.
Chris, above you.
Take it.
Okay.
Anytime you want to finish charging here, Space Laser. Ow. Stop it. Wow, we got 2 green herbs right here, but no inventory space for them. Chevet, give me the mine. Ow.
Don't be reckless. Roger. You need to be okay.
I keep on not doing the dot. Wow, twice in a row.
Okay. Okay.
Wow, they drop a lot of green herbs. And wow, I am blind to dodge prompts. Damn it. I pressed square just a little late. Damn it, that one does not want to be tracked. This one, on the other hand, apparently also doesn't want to be tracked because you can't track it from behind. There.
Roger.
Okay, I guess we're relying on her for that. Because I oopsed.
You need to slow it down.
Yeah, no, how about you put it down and I grab that? Buddy. So close. So, Sheva, about that whole shooting it to slow it down thing, maybe you should shoot it in bursts of more than just, like, 2 bullets? know what? Wow, you get a special one-liner? Well, I don't see how we can miss this one. Oh. By having it go away. That's how. Really? The little ones are back? So if we shoot these enough, the big one shows up, right? And then with our space laser already charged, we can just use the big one. Damn it, little guys. Oh, so we have to hit it, what, 3 times? Still not dead, huh? There. I guess we're not killing it with the space laser. We're killing it with a rifle. Sasas. Okay. There, do I have enough cash now, game? Dang it. Wow, guns don't sell for very much. Neither does ammo. Wow. I guess only treasure sells for a lot. Which does make sense, but also saddens me. honestly, we're probably... No, we're not. We're going into the last chapter. We want our Magnum. This ought to do. After we buy another first aid spray just to have it.
So that's Ouroboros. I fear for the world if that ever gets out.
God damn it, Wesker. He's actually serious about destroying the entire planet. Wait.
An assault bomber. When Jill said Wesker was planning to spread Ouroboros throughout the world.
He's planning to use this to spread it. Wesker! There he is! Come on, let's go! Jill! Are you alright?
I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Just listen carefully. There's something I need to tell you. Wesker's superhuman strength. It comes from a virus. But the virus is unstable. In order to maintain a balance, he must inject himself regularly with a serum.
So if we cut the supply of serum, he loses his strength.
Affirmative. But he just took a dose, so it's going to be a while before he needs another one.
Damn.
Listen, Excella said that the amount administered has to be precise. So if he injects too much, it should act like a poison. I think she used the serum labeled PG67AW.
PG67AW.
I'm gonna try to find a way to escape. You need to find that serum. Excella always kept it with her, in an attaché case.
Jill! Come in! Jill! Shit.
Chris, this is it.
Let's give it a shot.
I see what you did there. Because it's a syringe.
A bomber equipped with missiles. He can't fly around in that without getting shot down. Oh, God.
Exactly. The plane can't get shot down. If it does, it'll initiate a biohazard.
It's just like Joe said. He's planning to spread this virus worldwide.
Looks that way. Things are worse than I thought. We have to stop him here and now.
Ouroboros plan. The Ouroboros virus will have a direct and substantial impact on human DNA. Those who possess inferior genes will find exposure to the virus fatal. Most of those infected will be unable to withstand this winnowing. The handful of survivals will be limited to those who possess superior DNA, as defined by who knows. There is no room in this new world for those who do not qualify. A new day will dawn only for the chosen few. Tonight, Ouroboros and I shall awaken the best of this world. Everything is on schedule. When the bomber reaches the tropopause, the missiles carrying the Ouroboros virus will be deployed. Once released, the virus will enter the upper troposphere and spread using the wind currents. It is then that humanity will receive its final judgment. A virus possesses no emotions, and therein lies its beauty. It will select only choice humans from around the world. The ones who are not chosen will become hosts for Ouroboros, and their existence will consist only of searching for new hosts. That seems like a flaw in your plan, actually. Once set into motion, nothing can stop this chain reaction. The din of 6 billion screams will close the book on humanity's ignoble past. Because, yeah, if the Ouroboros monsters are still around and looking for food, they'll decimate the food supply for your perfect people. Or else attack your perfect people. Like, there's no good side to the byproduct that is the Ouroboros monsters. Oh, did our space laser have problems? Who knew space lasers came with consequences?
Come on!
Roger.
Take it!
Roger.
Hello, sir. Nice twofer, buddy. Sheva, that was a little early for the first aid spray, don't you think? Don't know why I'm using this. Probably going to want it against Wesker. Let's use this instead, unless we're actually doing sniping.
You grab it.
Okay.
Give me a grenade.
Sheva!
Give me a grenade.
When I ask for the one, I want the one. Why is this game's inventory management so bad? Sheva, grab that so that the game will let me exchange things with you. Because I did want my shotgun back. I swear, though, this game did not make a single good decision when it came to how the AI and inventory management work together. So I see we're going to have a Reaper to deal with, maybe more. And with that being the case, we want our zappy rounds.
Take it.
Okay.
You say I need to be careful, but you're the one who was more injured there. You coming up, buddy? No, you're being down there like a tool? Game, I didn't want to be on that side of the wall.
Come on!
Roger.
Take it!
Roger.
Hello, sir. Hello, sirs. I'm guessing these guys are just going to keep spawning. But I'm also guessing I want this magnum ammo.
Give me an herb.
Take this.
Sheva. Why?
I owe you one.
See, wait for me to put bullet in gun. Then hand me single rifle bullet. You can do it now, Sheva. I've got the space for it. Oh, would you look at that? Nitrogen rounds? Those sound useful. Hey, Sheva, give me that single rifle bullet. Why does it not auto-combine? I'll grab those. And then... Shame I can't make her drop her gun. Wait. You can't take her gun away from her? So I guess you can't make her drop her gun. But what I can do is take this 4 machine gun ammo, throw it in the trash, get my magnum back, and say, hey, Sheva, don't leave a red herb here. Hey there, Gopal. Yeah, unfortunately, Earth being round causes issues with time zones. It's one of those things that I would get around if I could, but there's no perfect time zone for everyone, unfortunately. I want this first aid spray. What do I want to get rid of to get it? 25 shotgun shells. Okay, Sheva, how about the rest? Sheva. Why?
Thanks, partner.
I need ammo.
Give me all of it. Sheva! Why does the game not let me request this, huh? It can stack. But no, because she chose not to give me all of it at once, I am stuck not being able to get all of it because this inventory system is terrible. And I can't exchange with her because her inventory is... Her inventory is full, but mine's not. And you can only exchange when inventories are full. Because that's how things work. Yeah, totally. I hate this game's inventory system. Sheva, give me the rest of it. We're right back where we started.
Thanks.
So how about this? You give me that. And then I can't exchange because your inventory's not full.
Take it.
Okay.
Shh.
Use this.
This game's inventory system is the worst. now we need to make some space. So here's what I'm going to do.
I need ammo.
Use this.
And now she puts that ammo in her gun.
Okay.
And there we go. Now combine those, Sheva. Because I swear, if you use that green herb by itself... All right, we've got a pretty good amount of healing supplies now. Never thought I'd have to play inventory Tetris when we've only got 18 slots and every single one of them is just a single box. It's atrocious. All right, where are the Reapers? There's the Reapers. Here, have a Zappy do. I said have a Zappy do. Whoops, zapped myself. Get away. I don't care that I'm zapping myself. Their hugs are lethal. Why are my shots not killing their little thingies? Oh, cool. Thanks, game. Like, it's supposed to be you shoot the glowy spots and then they expose another glowy spot and then they're basically dead. Why is that not happening here? Is it because I'm using a shotgun and not a pistol? They used to just put us right back before we pulled the levers instead of before we grabbed all the stuff. See, this is how it's supposed to go. But apparently using a shotgun instead of a handgun interrupts their weak point cycle. Because that's how monsters in video games work. Everyone knows you're supposed to want to use handguns instead of shotguns against monsters that are difficult to take down. Yup. Nah, Go Pale, these are different. These are basically roaches that have been infected with the Ouroboros virus. Whereas in Resident Evil 4, the Novistadors were apparently humans who had been infected by a type of plaga or something. The Novistadors weren't well explained, but Reapers are different things.
Fair fight. We need to fall back and come up with a plan.
All right, so Sheva, about falling back. feel like he should have been tearing his buddy to smithereens there. Ow. It's annoying that it just knocks me over. As soon as we're down to one of them, we can just endlessly repeat shotgun uppercut. Okay, now that we can stop being shot in the back repeatedly. Oh.
You grab it.
Roger.
Take it.
Okay.
Cool, we need a green herb now.
Take it.
Roger.
You grab it.
Roger.
Take it.
Roger.
At least we got plenty of magnum ammo. Flashes.
Take it.
Okay.
Well, if they're giving them to us in such numbers, that means they expect us to use them. Oh. We could have used this. Too late now. Maybe the flashes were so that we could get by the machine gunners. Okay, both our inventories are full. That is an issue. You know what?
Give me a grenade.
Take this.
Give me a grenade.
Take this.
Take it.
Roger.
We can leave the acid rounds.
Something doesn't feel right. Can't explain it.
Yeah, I hear ya. Don't let your...
Sure is cool that they let us interrupt the dialogue.
Your plans are finished, Wesker.
There's no way out this time.
Don't you two ever tire of failing in your mission? You've really become quite an inconvenience for me.
Why are you doing this? What do you accomplish by unleashing Ouroboros?
Every day, humans come one step closer to self-destruction. I'm not destroying the world. I'm saving it.
This guy's lost it.
This may be our only chance.
Do it.
Oh boy, time to fight Wesker. Okay, yeah, I walked into that.
Is that all you have?
Sorry about your glasses.
Dodges! Fighting in the shadows will be our only chance.
Fighting in the shadows? Why? We're in the shadows. He seems to be doing just fine. Take that, buddy. Oh, hello.
Can't be serious.
Ow. Oh, that's one of those rocket launchers that doesn't go in your inventory. I see. What's this? It's broken is what it is.
There's no point in hiding.
Oh, that's what she meant by fight in the shadows. Dude, are you blind? Wow, he just got to do that for free, huh? All right. Well, we're not going to... Well, maybe we are. Here's what I'm going to do. Gonna get us some space like that. Honestly, we're probably not going to need those. And this might work.
I see you dead. There's no point in hiding.
Isn't there? Okay, I guess there isn't. So we've got the stuff.
If we take advantage of the dark, we might actually hit him.
Define take advantage of the dark. Like, do we need all the lights off or just some of them?
It's overpopulated. Only a handful of humans truly matter. Everyone else is just so much chaff. So now, I have to separate this chaff from the wheat. And with Uroboros, I can finally accomplish this.
Whoops. Wrong button. It's kind of amusing that Wesker goes around flipping levers.
Every time we shoot, he dodges. Fighting in the shadows must be our only chance.
Oh, you mean like we're already doing? So yeah, at what point do we get to administer the thing? Because... Ah, yes, I am definitely hiding, sir. Look how hidden I am.
Do it now! Give him the shot!
That didn't really work, did it? Okay, I guess he doesn't want to be flashed. Hey, Sheva, can I have the magnum ammo you're carrying? Of course, this is the time she gives us the small amount. Every other time I ask for ammo. Like, if I ask for the small bit of ammo, she gives me the big one. But if I ask for the big one, she gives me the small one. What gives, game?
Is that all you have? Let me clarify something for you, Chris. I don't think of myself as a king. Oh, great. I feel more crazy talk coming on. No. I am a god. And even kings bow to gods.
A god? I think you completely lost it.
We never had it to begin with. We have to stop him.
You can't hide forever.
If only we could have, you know, shot the thing. Like, if only Chris had put down the rocket launcher as soon as he fired it.
You're merely postponing the inevitable.
What's so bad about that, huh?
Found you.
So, we still need to stab him. Sheva, give me that. Anytime, Sheva. Anytime. Thanks for leading him right to me by taking the slowest route possible. Oh, it's a new round for the thing. That'll be helpful.
You can't hide forever.
Can't I? Like, I'm literally not even trying right now. And you lost me.
Do it now! Give him the shot!
And actually do it this time.
Did it work?
I think so. no one left to help you now.
I don't need anyone else. I have Ouroboros. In less than 5 minutes, we'll reach the optimal altitude for missile deployment. Ouroboros will be released into the atmosphere, ensuring complete global saturation. Your feeble attempts only delay the inevitable. The entire world will be infected. A new genesis is at hand, and I will be the creator.
Ouchies.
I've had enough of your bullshit! You're just another one of Umbrella's leftovers.
You know what we have to do.
Alright, I'll go for the override lever. Cover me.
In co-op, you only have to respond to the QTEs for your character.
You'll pay for that.
Hang on!
Taking the two of you with me.
Like hell you will!
Yeah, no big. Just crashed into an active volcano. I hope you're ready to punch a boulder.
Take it.
Roger.
So, word of advice, if your plane crashes into an active volcano,
Take it.
Roger.
don't step out and stand mere feet away from lava. What they do not tell you about lava
Take it.
Okay.
is the fact that
Okay.
it expels very toxic gases. And that's before you consider that it's heating up the air to such a degree that breathing the air itself would burn your lungs and kill you. Standing here, these two are dead. Many times over. Right now. They are super, super dead. But this is a video game, so it's fine. We shot his shirt off.
A few years ago. Chris.
Your mistake. It's over, Wesker.
Over. I'm just getting started.
Well, Sheva, I'm at higher ground. All right, then get him. Press the button too late. And now we have to save her.
Wherever you go, everywhere, nothing but loathsome humans. Just hold on, Sheva.
I'm busy with the boulder, though. Yeah, I guess I wasn't supposed to do the boulder yet. Well, that boulder needed punching. I don't have ammo in any of these. Ah, but we've got treasures. Treasures become ammo. There, now we can give Sheva a sniper. Now we can give Sheva a second sniper. There, now she's got bullets. There. This ought to work. Yeah, why not? We're right at the end.
Why can't you understand, Chris?
Fall back!
Do you really believe the world is worth saving? Natural selection leaves the survivor stronger and fatter. Humans have escaped this winnowing for far too long.
Then get him. Can't skip this, apparently. Alright, I'll get near our boulder and then prepare to shoot him.
Just hold on, Sheva.
I'd love to. Yes, that dodging was super useful. Definitely a thing I had to do. Okay, now that she's up, apparently we're totally safe here. That boulder punching asshole. Oh, she's coming over here and not grabbing the green herb on the way.
The human race requires judgment.
Thanks, Sheva.
Going to judge us? You get all your ideas from comic book villains?
Why'd you stop and look that way? Is there something going on over there, Sheva? I mean, clearly it's got to be there for a reason, but... Sheva. Oh, cool. It uses heal partner instead of resuscitate. Shame that means my red herb is now worthless.
I owe you one.
Well, that seems like a problem.
I need ammo.
I don't have any for you. Actually, I do. There you go. Oh, cool. Thanks, game. Okay, so this time we're combining these so that there's no waste. And then I guess since we're past the part where it mattered as much to have her with a sniper. There. Still a shame she never picked up that green herb. She just ran right by it, and now she's got this. And I would grab shotgun ammo, but we're hanging out too close to Wesker, I think. Then again, no point in having an empty slot. And we haven't even tried our ice rounds. So these aren't doing a whole lot to him. Like, he's definitely getting frosty. I just don't know that that's accomplishing anything. Hey, Sheva, how about we stay on opposite sides of him? Because, like, if you've paid attention, you'd see that he's got one weak point that sometimes shows up on his chest and one that sometimes shows up on his back. They're in 2 different spots. And maybe, just maybe, Sheva, the designers of the game intended us to take advantage of them? I can't. That's very rude that he can just do that. Like, what am I supposed to do there when he gets her in a corner like that? I can't pull him towards me. If he decides he wants to kill her, he just kills her, and that's how it is. I don't have anything I can do about that. So I suppose I should get rid of my ice rounds. They didn't really do a whole lot. Sheva, why are you hanging out with me again? Sheva, I would very much like for you to hang out on the opposite side of him near the ramp so that you can back down it when he tries to get close. Okay, now he's doing that, and that means he's in the mode where he's been killing us. You may need ammo, but I've got none for you. Yes, Chris, that's the direction to dodge. Ow. Actually, you know what? There you go, Sheva. You've got ammo now. Are you not allowed to use that? Okay, she is allowed to use it. Sheva, stop hanging out with me. We want to be on opposite sides, Sheva. I ain't got none for you. There. Because, of course, lava isn't lethal.
Use those.
Ready, partner?
Locked and loaded.
Suck on this, Wesker.
Your time's up, you son of a bitch. That was for our fallen brothers.
And so Albert Wesker is out of the series. And Alex Wesker didn't last much longer.
It's over.
Yes. Finally.
And look who survived.
More and more, I find myself wondering if it's all worth fighting for. For a future without fear? Yeah, it's worth it.
And so ends Resident Evil 5. At least the main story. So, the inventory in this game was trash. The AI was not much better. But as far as actually controlling the gameplay, it feels like a modern video game, which is nice. It's got that over Resident Evil 4. And that's about it, really, but if they put this game's control scheme onto Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 4 would be greatly improved by it. Yeah. This was their first Resident Evil game that they made for co-op. Like outside of Mercenaries mode in Resident Evil 4 or whatever. So it was definitely a thing. And oh boy, is it absolutely meant to be played co-op. If you play this game in co-op, it is one of the best action games ever made. It's fantastic. I love it. Playing it solo, it's not great. It's not bad. You can feel what they were going for, but it's missing some quality of life things that would make playing solo not as painful. And honestly, they kind of got some of that right in the next game that they did where you had a partner character. Resident Evil Revelations. Wait, was Revelations before 6? I think it was before 6. Either way, in Revelations, what they changed was your partner character has infinite ammo and infinite health. Their ammo does not do very much damage, but they have infinite ammo and infinite health. You don't have to worry about your partner. The question then is, why have a partner? They still have yet to actually reach that point where they've got a Resident Evil game where you've got your character and a partner character, and it feels like both are justified, and it doesn't make the game worse for it. It's an interesting thing. Like, they've been trying really hard since this game came out to get it right. They did Resident Evil 5. They did Revelations. They did Resident Evil 6. They did Revelations 2. All of them tried having a partner character that would be helpful, not a hindrance, etc., etc. None of them has succeeded yet. Though actually, I think Resident Evil 6 might come the closest. But that might just be my memory playing tricks on me. I don't It's been a long time since I played Resident Evil 6 at all, and I never finished it. But I remember there being some useful parts about the partner character. Anyway, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake, Resident Evil 7, and Resident Evil 8 are all purely single-player affairs without partner characters, and they all benefit from that. I'm glad Capcom has put the let's make a co-op Resident Evil game thing behind themselves, because it just doesn't work as well. As soon as you've got a friend in a terrible situation, that situation loses a lot of its gravity. Anyway, I look forward to seeing Resident Evil 9 announced, in which we have a partner character and we're playing in first person. Yeah, Wolfkinson, I would honestly say Resident Evil 5 is skippable if you're not playing co-op. Like, it's got some important story beats, but... Co-op makes it a much better experience. And it does have online co-op. But yeah, if you're not playing it co-op, I would skip it. It's also got fantastic couch co-op. Couch co-op is the way to go for this game, honestly. It is kind of interesting, though, that this is the second of the modern-style Resident Evil games. And already, like, gameplay-wise, it holds up. Except for the poor decisions they made with regards to the AI and stuff. Like, it did not take them long to hit on a control scheme that worked. Resident Evil 4's control scheme didn't really work, but 5 worked just fine. It's really cool seeing a game company just nail a control scheme so early on. Anyway, while we may be done with the main story, we're not done with Resident Evil 5 yet. Oh boy, now we can choose to play through the game as Sheva instead of Chris. I won't. It doesn't change the story at all. It just changes which character you play as. Okay. So, while I could go do the DLC stuff right now, some of these files are gigantic. Hello, 44 pages. Hello, 31 pages. 24. Only 8 for her. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to read through these, and then on Monday we'll get into the DLC. And then we'll get to see firsthand what happened at the Spencer estate when Chris and Jill were going to get Oswell Spencer, and then oops, Jill definitely died. But for now, the history of Resident Evil. 1960s. Engineer Michael Warren begins the electrification of Raccoon City. The fifth head of the Ashford family, Edward Ashford, begins his research into what would later become known as the progenitor virus. 1962. Oswell E. Spencer enlists architect George Trevor to design and construct a reclusive mansion on the outskirts of Raccoon City, which we then played through in Resident Evil 1. 1966. December. Oswell E. Spencer, James Marcus, and Edward Ashford officially establish the progenitor virus, which reconstitutes a living organism's DNA. 1967, November. The construction of the mansion and lab facilities in the Arklay Mountains is completed. Jessica and Lisa Trevor are injected with a variant of the progenitor virus. The virus fails to establish itself in Jessica, and she is subsequently disposed of. The virus shows promise in Lisa, and as a result, she is placed under close observation. George Trevor is chosen to be a test subject. However, due to his intimate knowledge of the mansion facility, he is disposed of instead. 1968. Construction of Raccoon City's public transit trolleys begins in Europe, and they are quickly put into use within the city. Spencer founds the pharmaceutical company Umbrella with Marcus and Edward Ashford. The company is established to mask their biological research. July. Edward Ashford contracts the progenitor virus and dies. Oh, so it should be contracts, not contracts. He contracts the virus and dies. His son, Alexander Ashford, succeeds him as head of the Ashford family. August. The Umbrella Training Facility is established in the Arklay Mountains with Marcus appointed as director. Also, this kind of leaves out the fact that it was Alexia Ashford who deliberately gave Edward the virus to experiment on him with. 1969, February. Alexander Ashford begins to design a facility in Antarctica. He secretly makes plans to build an underground laboratory for the purpose of the Code Veronica project. November. Umbrella's Antarctic base and research facilities are completed. 1971. The Code Veronica project is successful. The twins Alfred and Alexia Ashford are born. Oh, right. Alexander is not. Edward Ashford is not the guy who was experimented on. My bad. Yes, the Code Veronica project is successful. The twins Alfred and Alexia Ashford are born. 1977. Albert Wesker and William Birkin join the training facility as prospective managers. 1978. Marcus successfully develops the T-virus. In January. July. The closure of the training facility is finalized. Wesker and Birkin transfer their T-virus research to the Arklay Research Facility. Marcus continues his own research in the closed-down training facility. Training facility being the place in Resident Evil 0. 1981, July. Although only 10 years old, Alexia Ashford graduates at the top of her class from a prestigious university that shall forever go unnamed. Birkin begins to view Alexia as a rival. 1982. Alexia injects her father, Alexander, with the T. Veronica virus, but the experiment ends in failure, and Alexander becomes the creature known as Nosferatu. 1983, December. Wesker researches secondary exposure to the T-virus. He begins to have reservations about Spencer's plans. Alexia injects herself with the T. Veronica virus and enters a 15-year cryogenic sleep. To maintain the secrecy of this plan, it is reported that she died of accidental exposure to the virus. 1987. Michael Warren becomes mayor of Raccoon City. 1988. Wesker, under orders from Spencer, assassinates Marcus. Under Birkin's guidance, the T-virus program begins development of the BOW Tyrant. Umbrella begins work on the Nemesis project at its 6th European research facility. And apparently neither one of these would bear fruit for another 9 years. 1991, Umbrella begins construction of an expansive underground laboratory beneath Raccoon City. Spencer approves Birkin's G-Virus project and work begins on it. Wesker is transferred to the Information Department. 1992, Umbrella contributes funds for the refurbishment of City Hall and the building of the General Hospital. A statue of Michael Warren is erected in City Hall. 1993, Raccoon City Police Chief Brian Irons begins conducting negotiations with Umbrella. Birkin transfers to the underground lab in Raccoon City. Clandestine meetings with Irons begin. Alfred Ashford graduates from a university in England and becomes director of the Antarctic facility. He rises up the ranks to eventually become an executive of Umbrella and then director of Rockford Island. December, a training facility for anti-BOW squad members is completed on Rockford Island, and we went through that. 1994, John from the Chicago Lab. Wow, what a name, John from the Chicago Lab. Takes over for Birkin at the Arklay Research Facility. Alfred builds a private mansion and prison on Rockford Island. 1996, Raccoon City Police Department's STARS team is founded with Wesker as captain. Hunk, later of the Umbrella Special Forces, undergoes combat training at Rockford Island. 1998, May. A mysterious clone of Marcus's appears at the Umbrella training facility. There's a large-scale viral leak at the Arklay Mansion. The research lab there is destroyed. Cerberus claims its first victim, a 20-year-old woman whose body is found dismembered. Cerberus being the designation of the zombie dogs. And yeah, this is Resident Evil 0 and 1 right here. June, Cerberus sightings are reported in a local Raccoon City magazine. Okay, this is actually 0 and 1. Those were the preliminary events. July, 2 groups are sent to investigate the training facility. The first one is wiped out by BOWs located on the premises. There's an increase in reports of accidents and missing persons in the Arklay Mountains. The city sends STARS Bravo team to investigate. Thus starts Resident Evil 0. Bravo team's helicopter experiences engine trouble for unknown reasons and is forced to put down in the Arklay Mountains. Bravo team takes the Ecliptic Express to investigate the training facility, which is later destroyed. Alpha team is sent out to search for Bravo team when communication is lost. The occurrence of the mansion incident. Bravo team leader Enrico Marini learns Wesker's true identity. Wesker murders Enrico. Ravaged by the virus, the mansion and the lab are destroyed. 4 members of Alpha team and 1 member of Bravo team escape the catastrophe. Survivors? Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, Brad Vickers, Rebecca Chambers. Wesker escapes the Arklay research facility before it is destroyed, but after losing a lung to a big tyrant claw to the chest. August. Former STARS member Chris Redfield learns of the G-virus and heads to Europe to investigate Umbrella. September. The virus spreads throughout Raccoon City via infected mice. The city is declared a biohazard as incidents of cannibalism continue to rise. Birkin completes work on the G-virus. A zombie horde attacks the city's police station. The police station is destroyed and Chief Irons descends into mania. Warren escapes the city but leaves his daughter behind. UBCS, Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service, arrives in the city to begin rescue operations. Rookie police officer Leon S. Kennedy arrives in the city at the same time as Claire Redfield, and then Resident Evil 2 happens. But before that, some of Resident Evil 3 also happened. Umbrella deploys the BOW Nemesis T-Type into the city, and it begins its hunt for former STARS member Jill Valentine. Umbrella deploys mass-produced tyrants into the city, which we know affectionately as Mr. X. Leon and Claire escape the city with William and Annette Birkin's daughter, Sherry. With the arrival of the U.S. military, the city is placed under martial law. UBCS survivors are exploited by Umbrella's official observer of the situation, Nikolai Genovev. I definitely butchered that pronunciation, and I am sorry to anyone who speaks Russian and hates me for it. And they die off one by one. The hospital is destroyed. Ada Wong and Hunk each acquire samples of the G-virus. The underground lab in Raccoon City is destroyed. October. The U.S. government decides to eliminate the virus threat by destroying Raccoon City with a missile strike. December. Claire infiltrates the Paris laboratory only to be captured and imprisoned on Rockford Island. Wesker attacks the island with his own private force and releases the T-virus onto the island. Claire escapes from the prison and sends an email to Leon asking for help. Her location is made known to Chris. Jill escapes Raccoon City and goes to Chris's apartment, but he has already left for Rockford Island. Alfred Ashford escapes the island. Chris arrives at Rockford Island and finds Wesker. Alexia Ashford wakes up from her cryogenic sleep at the Antarctic base. Alfred dies shortly after. Like, literally seconds after. Claire and Chris are reunited at the Antarctic base, and together they defeat Alexia. They escape before the base is destroyed. Sucks to be Steve, though. He doesn't even get mentioned. But really, he didn't deserve it anyway. 2002, Jack Krauser fakes his own death and joins Wesker's secret organization. 2003, February. Chris and Jill take part in the mission to destroy the Umbrella Caucasus research facility in Russia. They were successful in destroying a new BOW known as Talos. 2004, the U.S. President's daughter, Ashley Graham, is kidnapped by the religious group known as the Los Illuminados. The actual kidnapping was carried out by Krauser. Leon Kennedy was scheduled to join Ashley's Secret Service detail, but is ordered to find her instead. Leon Kennedy is injected with the Las Plagas parasite by the Los Illuminados. After that, he and Ashley, who is also infected with the same parasite, take shelter in a church. After escaping the village, Leon and Ashley are forced to seek refuge in an old castle. But Ashley is once again apprehended. This time she is taken to an isolated island by Krauser under the orders of Ramon Salazar, the 8th head of the Salazar family. Leon confronts Salazar and defeats him. Leon heads to the island to find Ashley, and it is there that he defeats both Jack Krauser and Osmond Sadler, the leader of the Los Illuminados cult. Leon and Ashley use the facility on the island to remove the parasites. Ada Wong steals the Las Plagas parasite sample from Leon. Leon and Ashley escape from the island by jet ski. And that is the whole history up to this point, apparently. Following the annihilation of Raccoon City, Umbrella was hit hard with multiple lawsuits for their involvement in the incident. But there was an organization that was hit even harder by the fallout of that incident. The Global Pharmaceutical Consortium, an organization comprised of pharmaceutical companies from around the world. There should be an apostrophe there. Umbrella's development of and experimentation with bioorganic weapons, BOW, along with the sale of those weapons on the black market, caused people to distrust the Global Pharmaceutical Consortium. And the fact that the Umbrella was an the fact that Umbrella was an executive board member, perhaps, only deepened their misgivings. If things had ended there, the consortium may have just escaped with a tarnished reputation. But in today's world, medicine is an integral part of almost all medical procedures. Yes, I would imagine medicine is integral to medical procedures. The public is also quite informed when it comes to which medications are trusted and which are not. If the population loses trust in the pharmaceutical company responsible for creating certain medications, it can quickly bankrupt said company. The Umbrella trials took a turn for the worse for the consortium when prosecutors presented evidence that incriminated many other pharmaceutical companies. Prosecutors showed that Umbrella acquired medicines and techniques developed by other companies and employed them in their own bioweapons research. They commissioned each of the respective companies to only partially develop certain medications so that they could not be traced to what was ultimately being developed. The responsible companies thus unwittingly contributed to the development of bioweapons. Until this development in the case, the consortium looked at the lawsuits as Umbrella's problem. Now the problem was thrust into their laps as well. And I need to take a sip of water. The companies that were linked to Umbrella faced the possibility of sharing blame for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of innocent people, and if Umbrella lost the lawsuits, they would face bankruptcy as well. Even if Umbrella was found not guilty of any wrongdoing, The negative publicity would not only be disastrous for sales, but the governments of the world would revoke the company's permits to sell their products. Not having permission to distribute their products worldwide would effectively dismantle their businesses. The pharmaceutical companies realized they had no choice but to take drastic measures to counter their dismal prospects. The consortium decided to strike a deal with the prosecutors. They would put all their efforts into assisting with the case against Umbrella, even to the point of turning over any internal company documentation. The prosecutors in the case, being obsessed with seeing Umbrella fall, agreed to accept the help of the consortium's companies, and in return they would not pursue legal action against them. In 2003, Umbrella was found guilty on all charges. With its fall, the scandal that rocked the pharmaceutical industry to its core could finally be put to rest. But Umbrella's dismantlement led to an unforeseen situation. In the fallout of Umbrella's collapse, BOWs began to show up on the black market. The weapons wound up in the hands of terrorists, guerrilla fighters, and unstable state governments. Soon the threat of these BOWs began to be felt around the world. Faced with a new Umbrella-like crisis, the Global Pharmaceutical Consortium knew they would have to take immediate action. It was then that the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance, BSAA, was formed to fight threats from BOWs. Upon its initial foundation, only 11 elite individuals were made part of the BSAA. Their job was limited to that of observers to armies and police units around the world that conducted counter-bioterrorism operations. Unfortunately, the world's bioterrorism problem was much bigger than anyone had anticipated, and so a new course of action was required to handle the problem. To that end, consideration was given to creating a team that could react instantly to threats. But the BSAA was still only a civilian-led organization. They could not operate freely in sovereign nations, and thus were unable to conduct investigations, make pertinent arrests, or even use force when the situation dictated it. It was clear now that the threat of bioterrorism was now the entire world's problem, and something would have to be done. The BSAA was then reformed under the UN's jurisdiction. As a UN-controlled special forces team, the BSAA's acceptance by the UN's member states was taken as a given. The truth of the matter was that only 70% of the member states would approve of BSAA activities on their soil, and the remainder of the states would only approve BSAA activities in their countries on a conditional basis. That is how the current incarnation of the BSAA was formed. The BSAA's headquarters was located in England, but any further details of the location were not released to the public. Since a BSAA team had to be able to be deployed within 12 hours, it was assumed that they were located near an airport hub or an Air Force base. Some sources claimed that the BSAA had bases in the area under their jurisdiction. The following is a list of areas under the jurisdiction of their respective BSAA branches. European headquarters, just Europe and Western Russia. Middle East branch, the Middle East and part of Africa. North American branch, the entire North American continent. Chris Redfield is stationed here. Until this game where he's in Africa. South American branch, the entire South American continent. West African branch, the western part of the African continent. Sheva Alomar is stationed here. East African branch, the eastern part of the African continent. Far East branch, eastern Russia and the countries east of India. Oceanian branch, Australia is the center of operations for Oceania. So Australia is the center of operations, but do they go anywhere else? Ah, yes. Antarctica, where Umbrella's Antarctic base was located, falls under the jurisdiction of the Oceanian branch. Each BSAA branch had a considerable number of people on their tactical teams, most of them coming from police special forces and militaries around the world. The support staff for the teams was also quite large, and they came mainly from government organizations in different countries. There were many groups of experts on the staff that provided technical, medical, physical, and mental support to the teams. The BSAA deployment teams were divided into two groups. The first group was the Special Operations Unit, SOU. The SOU were sanctioned to infiltrate an area, engage in combat, and subdue offenders. Teams were usually comprised of 12 members, and each team was divided into 3 4-man cells. A special feature of the SOU is the flexibility of its personnel during operations. In order to match the scale of an operation, cells from other teams are brought in on a regular basis. For one specific joint operation, there were 70 elite members working together. Dan Deschamps is currently the leader of Alpha Team for this operation. The team is comprised of his own standard team along with cells from other teams. The designation Alpha Team will only be used for this operation. Reports indicate that because unknown BOWs are involved, the efficacy of the tactical team's methods for handling them may be low, and consideration has to be given to the strong points that raise their efficacy. Another key part of the BSAA is the Special Operations Agent, SOA. Usually, they are referred to as just agents, and unlike the SOU, agents work alone. The agents are primarily involved in investigations and espionage activities, and as such they are considered the eyes and ears of the BSAA. During certain operations, it may become difficult for tactical teams to penetrate to the front, so it is up to the agents to carry out the missions. During those types of missions, a two-man cell is the basic deployment unit required to carry out the mission. Sometimes agents must go beyond the jurisdiction of a BSAA branch to carry out their missions. Many of them are dispatched to areas with unlawful activities. This mission sees Agent Chris Redfield in that role. Agents who work alone are highly capable, and they rank higher than SOU members. However, agents are not chosen so much for their abilities or technical prowess, but for the psychological state and aptitude in handling situations. In actual skills and abilities, they may be outperformed by SOU members. Except when it comes to punching boulders, Chris has them beat. The BSAA is a public organization with an international staff, but owing to the logistics of running such an organization, it is a well-known fact that most of their funding comes from the Global Pharmaceutical Consortium. While this relationship has been the target of much criticism, the consortium's funding removes the financial burden from participatory nations, and as such, any motivation to change the situation and incur unwanted expenses. As for the consortium, their sponsorship acts as a much-needed industry-wide PR service. So far, this partnership has been beneficial to all parties involved. On a final note, the 11 members who were part of the BSAA from the beginning are highly respected within the organization and are known as the Original 11. The name comes from the Original 7, who were the 7 astronauts selected for Project Mercury. One of these Original 11 is Chris Redfield. A number of other members of the Original 11 also work alongside many of the tactical teams. So we've already read about the Magini. New type of plaga put into people's mouth. It goes through their esophagus, takes control of their brain in seconds. Listed within this file is a general background information overview of BSAA agent Chris Redfield, as pieced together from various sources. The information listed here is neither complete nor should it be used as a psychological analysis of the subject. Chris Redfield began his military career in the United States Air Force. Possessing a service record replete with both commendations and disciplinary actions, commanding officers have described Chris as uncompromising, possessing unwavering dedication, and having a high level of adaptability. Also, this Air Force background is exactly why they let him pilot a plane in Code Veronica. It was these traits that saw Chris earn his wings, but also these same traits that brought him into direct conflict with superiors. Unable to settle these differences, Chris retired from the United States Air Force. After retirement, Chris was scouted by Raccoon City's Special Forces, STARS, because of his superior firearm and hand-to-hand combat skills, along with his qualifications as both fixed-wing aircraft and helicopter pilot. Joining the STARS team, Chris was designated as Point Man, PM, for Alpha Team. As PM, it was his duty to scout and secure positions ahead of the team. His duties required him not only to be a good shooter and fighter, but also be able to use a wide array of weaponry. It was in this area where he excelled, showing the ability to handle anything from small arms to large weapons, and the flexibility to use them as the situation dictated. Chris's performance with STARS was exemplary. It appeared that he had finally found his niche, but fate had other plans in mind for Chris. Unbeknownst to him, the next chapter in his story was about to unfold on that fateful night in July 1998. Resident Evil 1 happened. The STARS Bravo team, responding to reports of disappearances in the surrounding areas of Raccoon City, abruptly went radio silent. Alpha Team was sent in to investigate. Shortly after their helicopter touched down, they were attacked by wild, ravenous canines known as the BOW Cerberus, and were forced to take refuge in a nearby mansion. The mansion was in reality the Arclay research facility for the pharmaceutical giant Umbrella. It was at this facility that they developed bioweapons and conducted uncounted illegal experiments. Here, Chris and his partner, Jill Valentine, were forced to combat numerous BOWs as part of an active tactical research plan developed by Albert Wesker. And also, this is where you realize that neither story in Resident Evil 1 is canon, because it's assumed that Chris and Jill were both dealing with things when, in reality, the one you're not playing at is locked in a prison cell for the entire game until the very end. Wesker was the commanding officer of STARS, and therefore Chris and Jill's superior. Though all his actions were done at the behest of the Umbrella Corporation, Wesker used his rank in STARS to manipulate Chris and Jill. Wesker unleashed several BOWs into the mansion in order to gather data for his own ends. This tragedy in the Arclay Mountains became known as the Mansion Incident, and ended with Chris and Jill destroying the creature known as Tyrant, the death of Wesker, and the destruction of the laboratory. Except for how that other file that we read before this one told us that Wesker escaped. Having survived the incident at the mansion, Chris attempted to notify the authorities regarding Umbrella's activities, but all his warnings were ignored due to Umbrella's powerful sway. Having exhausted this option, he attempted to notify the U.S. government of the situation. This too, however, proved fruitless. He knew that taking on such a large corporate entity alone would not be easy, and might in fact prove fatal, but in the end he was left with no other choice. Thus, Chris continued his investigation on his own without informing his family of his intentions. Or rather, I used a comma instead of a period. Without informing his family of his intentions, he soon departed for Europe. Chris wanted to shield his family from any ill effects his investigation might incur. Ironically, it brought one of his family members into the fray. When Claire Redfield was unable to get in contact with her brother, she journeyed to Raccoon City to find him. Upon arrival in the city, she found the area awash in the terror brought on by the spread of the T-virus. In that land of death and confusion, Claire met Leon S. Kennedy, and together they were able to fight their way out of the city. After the Raccoon City ordeal, Claire flew to Paris to investigate Umbrella's activities in Europe, but she was captured and sent to Rockford Island. When Chris learned from Leon what had happened to Claire, he made his way to Rockford Island to free her. It was there that Chris was confronted with many harsh facts. Umbrella had a research facility in Antarctica. Alexia Ashford was still alive, and Chris definitely knew who she was, for sure. There was a new virus called T. Veronica, and most surprisingly of all, Albert Wesker was still alive. The man behind the horror of the mansion incident, Chris's former commanding officer, somehow survived the destruction of the mansion. Once again, Chris was unwittingly thrust into one of Wesker's schemes, and he was forced to face the man whose destiny appeared to be intertwined with his own. Chris was easily overpowered by Wesker's inhuman strength, but luck was on Chris's side that day. In the ensuing conflagration that consumed the island, Chris and Wesker's conflict was put on hold for the time being. With his resolve strengthened, Chris determined that no matter at what personal cost to himself, Umbrella would fall. Fast forward to 2003. Chris is in the skies over Russian. Yes, over Russian, not Russia. Russian. His partner, Jill Valentine, by his side. At this point, Umbrella was in dire straits. In the wake of the destruction of Raccoon City, the company became embattled in litigation, and their stock price plummeted. It was only a matter of time before Umbrella collapsed. It was during this time that Chris learned of Umbrella's plans to develop a new type of BOW. Chris and Jill had obtained information and were headed to the Caucasus laboratory, where the Talos plan was being conducted in secret. They were to rendezvous with an anti-bioterrorism unit and attack the location. Not long after this incident, the once seemingly untouchable Umbrella was officially no more. The seed that Umbrella sowed, however, would continue to reap tragedy for the world. BOWs were no longer restricted to areas of conflict, but were now being used in terrorist attacks against innocent civilians. It was at this time that Chris and Jill joined the BSAA, a group dedicated to eliminating those bioweapons. The two of them traversed the world together, partners in the fight to bring bioterrorists to justice. The shadow of Umbrella still loomed large, though, as they would soon discover. When Chris and Jill went to question Umbrella's founder, Oswell E. Spencer, about Wesker's whereabouts, they were greeted by the sight of Umbrella's founder lying crumpled on the floor, and the blood-stained figure of Wesker standing over him. This would be the third confrontation between Chris and Wesker. This time, the confrontation ended in tragedy as Jill, seeing no other option, made the ultimate sacrifice to stop Wesker. With one last effort, she charged Wesker and threw both herself and him over the side of a cliff. The BSAA searched for Jill's body for 3 months, but no trace of her was ever found. After 3 months of searching with no success, Jill Valentine was officially declared dead by the BSAA. No one knows what promises Chris made in front of Jill's empty grave, but following her loss, he redoubled his efforts to eradicate all bioorganic weapons, wherever they may be. Initially stationed at BSAA's North American branch, his investigations soon took him around the world. He became involved in so many operations that he soon had more missions to his name than any other BSAA member. During one of his investigations, Chris learned of an upcoming bioweapons deal in Africa in connection with a man named Ricardo Irving. Irving's name has come up quite often of late in association with bioweapons smuggling. After informing the BSAA African branch about Irving, Chris urgently requested permission to participate in the operation to arrest Irving. As for the reasons he wished to participate in this mission, Chris would not comment. Whether he is withholding information or not is unclear. As one of the most respected BSAA agents, his presence in this operation greatly increases the chances of success. Thus, his request has been granted. Now let's learn who Sheva is. Wow, she's got a lot of pages. Why does she have more pages than Chris? Listed within this file is a general background information overview of BSAA agent Sheva Alomar, as pieced together from various sources. The information listed here is neither complete nor should it be used as a psychological analysis of the subject. Sheva Alomar was born into an impoverished family situation in a small factory town situated in Africa. This particular town being home to Umbrella Plant 57. As with most factory towns, the plant was the lifeblood of the town, bringing in much needed revenue and steady employment for its populace. That is the wrong word. Wrong populace there, people. Should be ACE, not OUS. Almost 80% of the town's adult population was employed at the factory in some facility, including Sheva's parents. While the pay was low by most nations' standards, it provided a steady income for the townspeople and a happy childhood for Sheva. This happiness was short-lived, however. While only 8 years old, Sheva's peaceful life was brought to an abrupt end by the sound of sirens erupting from the factory. As the sirens pierced the air, an ominous plume of black smoke poured out of the factory. Even as a child, Sheva knew something was terribly wrong. With dread in her heart, she ran toward the factory. Arriving at the factory, she soon discovered the entrance blocked. In place of the kind old man who used to stand guard at the entrance, strange adults in protective suits were everywhere, their faces hidden by masks. Sheva could not understand what was happening. I realized years later that they were wearing anti-biohazard protective gear. They were part of Umbrella's special forces. She may have not understood the muffled voices emanating from beneath those masks at the time, but the assault rifles they leveled at her more than made their intentions understood. The country was not a very stable place to begin with, and near her town resided members of a large anti-government guerrilla army. Although only a child, Sheva knew all too well the violence that too often accompanied those with guns. The adults in the village that remained were promptly executed by these gunmen. Sheva was spared this same fate thanks to the vigilance of a neighbor who was able to get her back to her parents' home unnoticed. Thus began the longest night of Sheva's life. Crippled by fear, she could only wait and pray for her parents' return. The night passed and a new day dawned, but still they did not return. As night on another day fell, she sensed a presence outside her home. Unable to contain her relief and joy, she ran to the door to greet her parents. As she swung the door open, crying aloud with joy, she was soon met with disappointment and confusion. For at the door were not her parents rushing to embrace her, but her uncle, with a look of shock and horror painted upon his face. His words crushed any hope she had left. Your parents are dead. There was an accident at the factory. Taking anything of value left in the house, her uncle then took Sheva to live with his family, taking her away from the only home she had ever known. Her life with her uncle would be brief. Not only was her uncle's family extremely poor, but he also had 7 children of his own to care for. Even though Sheva was a blood relative, he probably never would have come for her if he hadn't thought he would receive financial compensation from the factory. That compensation never came. Umbrella never gave out any payments, and soon her aunt and uncle were unable to feed her. Life was hell for Sheva. Not only was she on the verge of starvation, she yearned to be with her parents again. In her grief, she became fixated on the notion that they were still alive. As the days passed, this belief grew so strong to the point where she could think of nothing else. She knew she had to find them. So one night, as the moon bathed the savannah in silver, Sheva ran away from her uncle's house and headed back to her hometown and the life that was stolen from her. The thought of her parents drove her on. But the expansive savannah is a harsh environment for one so young and small. During her second night, she began to feel the effects of malnutrition. Unable to find food, Sheva soon collapsed. A night in the savannah is not a quiet affair. The sounds of animals plodding along, beasts howling at the moon, insects chirping and buzzing about, and the dry wind soughing? I don't know that word. Through the grass. Sheva considered them all with wonder. She had grown up in a town and was unaccustomed to her new surroundings. Through the cacophony of strange noises, Sheva picked up a sound that was quite familiar to her. She heard the low rumbling of an engine and the sound of tires cracking over the dirt. A truck pulled up next to Sheva, and a stranger got out of the passenger side and spoke to her. If she replied to him or not, she couldn't recall, but the man picked her up and placed her in the bed of the truck. The man that found Sheva was an anti-government guerrilla fighter. He provided her with food, shelter, and a place to call home. Unfortunately for Sheva, this good turn was accompanied by some bad news. She was told that the incident at the Umbrella factory was not an accident, that the factory manufactured bioweapons and Umbrella was carrying out the final test on one of its newest weapons at the dilapidated factory. The regular employees who worked there were unaware of what Umbrella was actually creating, and they paid for it with their lives, including Sheva's mother and father. After concluding the test, Umbrella took measures to conceal the entire affair. With the assistance of the government's army, they destroyed the factory along with the entire town, effectively wiping the town Sheva had called home off the map. At this news, Sheva was filled with rage. She hated Umbrella and blamed them for her parents' deaths, only because they were actually at fault. And she hated the government for just rolling over at Umbrella's behest. It was at this moment she decided to join the guerrillas in their fight against the government. Sheva started out by doing laundry, cooking meals, and taking care of other chores. After only a few years with the guerrillas, she was given her first gun. She doesn't like to talk about her time with the guerrillas. Perhaps the memories are too painful, or maybe she's too ashamed of what she did there. One of her main duties with the guerrillas was to go into town and purchase supplies for the group. For 7 long years, Sheva stayed with the guerrillas. By this time, she was a teenager and had spent most of her known life with the guerrillas. Perhaps due to her age, when she went into town, the townspeople never suspected her of being a guerrilla fighter. It could be for this very reason that she was the one they sent. It was on one of these occasions, while she was in town, that a man approached her. He looked like a local, but spoke with a strange foreign accent. Handing her a piece of paper and speaking in a hurried voice, he stated, "Read this. If you believe what it says, come to the church in the back alley in 2 hours." After speaking these words, he disappeared into the crowd as quickly as he had appeared. Sheva turned the paper over in her hand, and her eyes were drawn to one word: Umbrella. It was the same pharmaceutical company whose selfish aims took her parents from her. If that incident had never happened, perhaps her life would have been different. The message on the paper said that the guerrillas were planning on using bioweapons to conduct a large-scale terrorist attack that would overthrow the government. Umbrella was going to make a deal with the guerrillas to provide them with the bioweapons. The man wanted Sheva's help in stopping the deal from going through. At first, Sheva thought it was a government trap, but deep down she knew the note spoke the truth. When asked how she knew, she had this to say: "My country was strongly influenced by France, and many government officials spoke in a French patois. But this man was different. couldn't place his accent at the time, but somehow I knew I could trust him. Sheva followed her instincts. She went to the church and met two men there. One of them had given her the note earlier. The other wore a suit with no tie and said that he was from the U.S. government. What the man in the suit wanted seemed straightforward enough: the apprehension of the representative from Umbrella. From what he said, this particular person held the key to causing an irreparable blow to Umbrella. But in order to arrest him, they needed Sheva's help. As long as they got their man, they wouldn't do anything to her or her fellow guerrillas. Even if they did not succeed in arresting the man in question, they promised not to turn her or her companions over to the authorities. The man in the suit's offer seemed credible, but could she betray those who had been like a family to her? The man seemed to understand Sheva's apprehension, so he asked her one simple question. Don't you want to see Umbrella punished for what they've done? Sheva quickly nodded her head. That's why we selected you. But if you want to help us fight Umbrella, then you are going to have to leave your so-called friends. And then what? What's in it for me? Look around. You know these guerrillas you're with aren't doing this for some greater good. They'll do anything to topple the government, including things you know are wrong. Help us, and you can finally do some good for the people of your country. And what makes you think a 15-year-old girl can help? Someday you'll learn that age matters very little. A person's life is not defined by age, but by the choices they make. You have the chance to fight for something here that goes beyond just you, something that affects the entire world. Can you really walk away when so much is at stake? Sheva would never forget these words. 3 days later, the Special Forces team arrived at the location where the deal was taking place. Sheva had left the door to the building unlocked, and she wore a wire so the team on standby could hear what was taking place. The operation was a success. The target from Umbrella was quickly apprehended and taken away. Sheva and the guerrillas were taken to the American consulate, there to be released 2 days later with no charges pressed, just as promised. Recognizing Sheva's abilities, or perhaps moved by pity, the man in the suit offered Sheva the chance to start life anew in America. With nothing left in Africa for her, Sheva decided to take him up on his offer. Shortly after arriving in America, Sheva's high intelligence and drive quickly became apparent. She surpassed any and all expectations, even learning English to a native level in a mere 6 months. That is actually very impressive, perhaps the most impressive thing about her. Within 2 years of arriving in the U.S., she had enrolled at a university. After graduating with high honors from her university, her legal guardian, the man in the suit, who will apparently never be named, suggested that she join the newly formed BSAA to help others as she had been helped. Umbrella had already been dismantled many years prior, but Sheva had not let go of her hatred toward them and all others like them. After completing basic training, she was assigned to the unit led by Josh Stone. There she trained with his unit for 8 months, learning everything she would need to know to survive in the field. After the completion of her training, she was handpicked to become a BSAA agent. She's currently involved in operations throughout the world. And we read about Ricardo. The Ndipaya reside in unique wooden structures in the wetlands. Their advanced architectural techniques are used throughout the world to repair and maintain many damaged ancient ruins. This is how the world at large knows of the Ndipaya. But the Ndipaya possess a secret that they do not wish to share with the rest of the world, that the ancient ruins of the Ndipaya kingdom reside beneath their land. In ancient times, the surrounding lands were all under the control of the sovereign Ndipaya kingdom, and the city of ruins was the seat of that monarch. Special attention should be given to the way the sovereign was chosen. While the Ndipaya did have a monarchy, the king was not decided by birthright, but by the abilities and qualities he displayed during a certain required ceremony. This ceremony employed a special plant that grew in the Sun Garden, residing in the deepest area of the royal city. This plant was known as the Stairway to the Sun. The Stairway to the Sun was an extremely poisonous plant, and its effects were fatal if consumed, though some individuals possessed a natural resistance to the poison. The Ndipaya people believed that a man who could prevail against the poison was destined to become king. Vestiges of this ceremony are still carried out once a year by the Ndipaya for the continual peace of their ancestors' spirits. Even with a natural resistance, finding an individual that could survive ingestion of the powerful poison was a rarity. It is said by the Ndipaya people that one such man reigned as king for hundreds of years. Whether this legend has any validity to it cannot be ascertained at the present. What is known is that this once flourishing kingdom fell into decline and was eventually abandoned by the Ndipaya people. It is not known what made the Ndipaya abandon their city for the wetlands. Any information regarding these matters comes from oral traditions and hearsay, which obviously calls into question the validity of the information. What is known, though, is that after leaving the city, the Ndipaya viewed it as a sacred ground and vowed to keep its existence hidden from outsiders. All Ndipaya males between the ages of 13 and 25 are required to spend 2 years in the city to guard and protect it. It is through their continued vigilance that this great city's existence has been kept undiscovered by the outside world. There was, however, one instance of outsiders discovering their secret city. In the 1960s, a corporation went into the sacred city to find the plant used in their ceremonies and take it by force. But Ndipaya fiercely resisted this incursion into their land. In times of peace, the Ndipaya are builders of great renown, but when the need for war arises, they can become stout warriors. This adaptability is the essence of the Ndipaya. Their physical prowess in battle was their greatest weapon, and they used it to fight bravely, but they were overwhelmed by the enemy's technological advantages. During this time, many of the Ndipaya youths consumed the plant in an effort to fight off the invaders. In the end, the Ndipaya were forced to cede the area of the Sun Garden, and beyond, to the corporation's control. But the Ndipaya have not yet given up hope of one day reclaiming their sacred land and returning it to its former glory. And here's the big crab thingy we fought. U8 is the name of the BOW born from a weapons development project involving Las Plagas. The creature is comprised of the refined DNA of multiple organisms, specifically the DNA of shelled organisms. The alterations to this aspect of the creature is reflected in its dark coloring. The carapace has an unparalleled durability and was shown to be resistant to a direct hit from RPGs in tests. This gigantic creature has another special feature in its design. U8 is some tens of meters tall, and its pincer legs are over 3 meters in length, which it uses as a weapon in close combat. These pincer attacks are not especially quick, but they are powerful enough to pierce the armor of a tank. Flying BOWs reside in the part of U8's abdomen originally intended for the maturation of eggs in an unaltered specimen. These flying BOWs are not larval U8s, but completely different creatures entirely. In a close quarter, one-on-one fight, U8 is an overwhelmingly powerful adversary, but when it has to combat more than one opponent, its large size becomes somewhat of a liability. Its considerable bulk also makes it vulnerable to long-range attacks. To compensate for this weakness, it uses the flying BOWs in much the same way an aircraft carrier uses jet fighters. Some would consider U8 an impeccable fighting machine, but it does have its flaws. U8's size can be a detriment because it requires massive amounts of sustenance to maintain functionality. As such, U8 is not suitable for long-term assignments. According to Tricell's business information, U8 is most effective as security for a facility, or when used in attacks of limited time. Before it can be used in an offensive attack, consideration must be given to the means of transporting U8 to the destination. Also, U8 is designed to reach a large size very rapidly, and this breeds imperfections in its carapace. These imperfections are limited to a certain area of the carapace, but a direct attack on this area will severely damage U8. Even with these flaws, U8's functionality, combat effectiveness, and relative ease to control have made it popular in the bioweapons market. Records indicate that Ricardo Irving has sold a multitude of both the original U8 and the upgraded version, U8 Prime, which has a multi-layered carapace for extra defense, along with a shell covering formerly exposed areas. There were plans at one point to design a lighter, faster U8 that could maintain functionality for longer periods of time, but this would result in a significant downgrade in its defensive capabilities. This plan appears to have been scrapped. Chris Redfield and Sheva Alomar reported imperfections in the carapace of the U8 they faced, so it is suspected that it was one of the original models. Note that the U in U8 does not stand for Ouroboros, but for ultimate. The fact that you have to add this note at the end. Couldn't you have named it something else? Tricell is a conglomerate organization comprised of shipping, natural resources development, and pharmaceuticals divisions. Tricell's history dates back to the period known as the Age of Exploration. The forebearer to Tricell was Travis Trading, a company owned by the wealthy European merchant Thomas Travis. So many T's. This company profited greatly from expansive trading with the Orient and laid the groundwork for what would become Tricell's shipping division. Travis Trading entered the 19th century as a profitable trading venture. In the 1800s, Henry Travis, the youngest of 7 siblings, invested much of his own fortune into the exploration of Africa. During this period, the exploits of explorers like David Livingstone were creating quite a stir in the newspapers of the day. Henry's expedition was inspired by these accounts, and his decision was to have a great impact on Travis Trading's future. Henry made 5 expeditions to the African continent in order to explore all of its regions. The extensive funds of the Travis family allowed him to continue his research into Africa, even through times when results were not forthcoming. After his 5th and final expedition in Africa, Henry Travis returned to his home country a full 34 years after he had first left it. Henry compiled the results of his expeditions into an impressive 72-volume set entitled Survey of Natural History. These books covered everything from animals, plants, insects, and minerals and topography to the native inhabitants and their cultures, histories, and traditions. These books also contained extensive records detailing the folklore of various peoples throughout the continent. These tomes were a veritable encyclopedia of the African continent. Henry's survey was published in its entirety, but his meticulous details were viewed as products of creative license and an overzealous imagination. The books were ultimately discredited by the scientific community. Considered to be a novelty item, only a few copies of the entire series were ever published. The shock of being shunned by the scientific community sent Henry into a deep state of depression. He passed away only 2 years after his return from Africa. It is now believed that the head of Travis Trading at that time, Henry's eldest brother, purposely spread the rumor that Henry's books were nothing more than fiction. The thought being that he did this because he wanted Travis Trading to be the only company that could exploit the information contained within those books. Of particular interest was the topographical information contained in volumes 17 through 24. By the end of the 19th century, Travis Trading had begun to exploit the mineral resources of Africa. All over the continent, the company was mining for precious metals and discovering and developing oil and natural gas fields. Meanwhile, the company's profits continued to soar. These operations formed the basis of Tricell's Natural Resources Development Division. Travis Trading built a firm foothold in Africa, and beginning in the mid-20th century, they had begun to actively collect samples of plants, animals, and insects. Henry's books were instrumental in guiding these endeavors. The collected specimens were used in pharmaceutical research, and before long that research brought commercial success and the subsequent founding of Tricell's Pharmaceuticals Division. Travis Trading was the basis for the shipping division. The Natural Resources Development Division was born from the information contained in Henry's journals. The specimens obtained from the African fauna were used to create the independent Pharmaceuticals Division. By the 1960s, these 3 divisions of Travis Trading were firmly established, and they formed a conglomerate under the name Tricell. The Travis family, however, were not the only ones privy to the knowledge of Henry's journals. Umbrella's founder, Oswell E. Spencer, was interested in them for the folklore recorded therein. Of particular interest were the accounts of the Undipaya's rituals. Spencer hypothesized that the flower used in their rituals held significance, and this ultimately led to the discovery of the progenitor virus. And we read Jill, so we just got 2 left. The Gione family is well known and respected throughout Europe for their successful export-import business. Her grandmother, being from the Travis family, the founders of Tricell, has endowed Excella with quite a noble and storied lineage. Blessed with model-like beauty and raised in such an aristocratic family has led to being her haughty towards those around her, especially men. But it was neither Excella's looks or family background that got her to where she is today. Gifted with a keen intellect and inheriting her father's business acumen, Excella quickly breezed through school and enrolled in a university at a young age. There she majored in genetic engineering, and her talents were recognized by her grandmother's family. With her connections, she was able to enter Tricell's pharmaceutical division at the age of 18. Although she was a gifted member of Tricell's founding family, she was still a Gione, an offshoot of the famed Travis family. Even with all the research teams at Tricell's disposal, she was only given one. Excella viewed this act as a slight. While still feeling indignant over this affront, she was approached by Albert Wesker. Wesker's interest in Excella was piqued by her intelligence and character. It was at this time he provided her with all the information he had concerning the T-virus and other research. Excella was now armed with the tools to make the advances to her career that she desired. She used the information and technology she obtained from Wesker to advance Tricell's bioweapons division exponentially. In a fortunate turn for Tricell, Umbrella, who had previously dominated the bioweapons market, had gone bankrupt, greatly increasing Tricell's sway in this area. Thanks to Excella's efforts in expanding Tricell's market share, she was given more of a voice within the company. Before long, she was making key decisions that would affect the fortunes of the pharmaceutical division. This was precisely as Wesker had intended. Excella then set her sights on the position of CEO of the Tricell Africa division. Her adroit use of flattery and intimidation soon landed her that powerful position. It is now believed that it was Wesker who suggested Excella take over Tricell Africa. He exploited her romantic interest in him, and was able to use both her and Tricell Africa to further his Ouroboros plan. Excella's first order of business as Tricell Africa's CEO was to restore the abandoned Umbrella Africa research facility. As the facility where research on the progenitor virus had been carried out, its use in the completion of the Ouroboros plan was vital. Following the facility's restoration, Ricardo Irving was employed to sell bioweapons in order to secure funding for the research being carried out on the Ouroboros virus. As the Ouroboros plan neared completion, Excella began to fancy herself as the queen in the New World Order that would follow the plan's execution. Unfortunately for her, those dreams was dashed when the man that was to be her king injected her with the Ouroboros virus. Sure is a shame that those dreams was dashed. The Mansion Incident, the tragedy at Raccoon City, Rockford Island, Umbrella's Antarctic Research Facility, and the Umbrella Caucasus Research Facility in Russia, the kidnapping of the U.S. President's daughter. One man was involved either directly or indirectly with each and every one of these incidents, Albert Wesker. The motivation behind all of Wesker's actions can be found in this current incident in Africa. Wesker had already obtained samples of various organisms and viruses, including the T-virus, the G-virus, the T. veronica virus, and Las Plagas. All of these were eagerly and enthusiastically received by Umbrella's former rival companies, who compensated him greatly for each. With wealth, power, and glory, Wesker appeared to have everything a person could ever want. Wesker, however, was not interested in material gains. An all too familiar sense of trepidation continued to gnaw at him, the source of this uneasiness being Umbrella's founder, Oswell E. Spencer. During his time at Umbrella, Wesker could never ascertain what Spencer's true intentions were. Spencer's extensive funding of BOW research was unheard of in the field. The whole reason for producing bioweapons was that it could be done relatively inexpensively when combined with a normal weapons delivery system. Spencer's extreme investment in BOWs seemed unnecessary. Why would Spencer need such BOWs in the first place? To find the answer to that question, Wesker joined Umbrella's information department. Even after the downfall of Umbrella, these doubts continued to haunt Wesker. To find the answers he needed, Wesker began to search out Spencer. The only problem was that even before Umbrella's dissolution, Spencer had removed himself from Umbrella's day-to-day operations. Wesker had to use every resource at his disposal, all his time, money, and connections. Eventually, he ascertained Spencer's long-hidden whereabouts. On the first night of autumn, as thunder and lightning raged in the skies above, Wesker arrived at the ancient castle in Europe where Spencer resided. Wesker expected the old man to be surprised by his presence, but instead the withered old eyes of Spencer lit up with dark delight as he spoke. "You're back." The words barely audible amidst his cough-racked laugh. If Wesker had his doubts about Spencer before, he didn't know what to make of him now. He only knew at that moment that this seemingly feeble old man had been in control of everything that had transpired at Umbrella. Even Wesker's own actions through the years had been controlled and manipulated by this decrepit old man. With this sudden realization, Wesker now knew the source of his anxiety for all those years. Appearing to read Wesker's thoughts, Spencer laid out everything to him. The development of bioorganic weapons was only a means of achieving his true goal, the forced evolution of mankind via viruses. It would be the end of the current form of humanity and the birth of a new superior human race. With this new race, he would build his utopia with himself as a god on Earth. In order to realize this dream, he required 3 things. 1. The progenitor virus. Without this key component, his dreams would be no more than abstract ideas. Once he discovered the progenitor virus, he had the foundation on which all his subsequent plans would be built. 2. The Umbrella Corporation. The manufacturer of bioweapons was the perfect method of conducting his research on the progenitor virus. Any profits gained through Umbrella's research were secondary to his true goal. The third thing Spencer needed in his grand vision was Wesker himself. Spencer knew what was required for his utopia. He also knew he would need a new human race. But what would that new breed of humans be like? The progenitor virus would spur natural selection upon the population. That was the fundamental premise behind Spencer's plan. But if the new breed of humans brought about by this selection process were unwilling to share in his vision, then there would be unwanted complications. This forced stage of evolution would give the surviving humans increased strength and intelligence, but it would not affect a person's knowledge, logic, or general character. If any indolent or unsavory individuals survived to be a part of this new race, it would be a blight on Spencer's utopia. Spencer was not about to have his vision stained, so he enacted a plan to ensure that would not happen. This plan was called the WESKER Plan, which was named after the chief researcher at the time. According to this plan, hundreds of children born of parents of superior intellect from all nationalities would be collected. If their knowledge, logic, and self-will could not be altered by genetic manipulation, then Spencer himself would instill his values into these children by whatever means he deemed necessary. These children were all given the surname Wesker, and after completion of their indoctrination/manipulation, they were placed into select controlled environments in various locations around the world, ever under Umbrella's watchful eye. The children themselves were to be kept unaware they were being monitored. With Umbrella's concealed aid, they all received the best educations available in the fields they pursued. After a few years, one child who showed particular promise was sent to Umbrella's training facility in Raccoon City. This Wesker child's name was Albert. Spencer was quite pleased. Not pleased, he was quite pleased by all of Albert's actions. And if the other Wesker children were like him, Spencer would have nothing but quality individuals for his new race of humanity. Spencer then enacted the second phase of his plan. All the Wesker children would be administered an experimental virus. This virus was administered to screen out the more gifted of the Wesker children. Some took the virus on the recommendation of a friend. Others were given the virus as part of their medical treatment. Still other, not others, just one more. Still other had it forcibly administered to them. So yes, only one Wesker child had it forcibly administered. Clearly. Albert Wesker was no different. His partner, William Birkin, gave him the experimental virus, and he administered it to himself. This screening process turned out to be a little too selective. Most of the Wesker children died, leaving only a few survivors. Albert Wesker was one of those survivors, and he disappeared shortly after. Spencer was unconcerned by this development. There was a failsafe device attached to every Wesker: Spencer's existence. This was the discomfort Albert had felt throughout his life. All Wesker children were programmed to seek Spencer out, which manifested itself as a growing anxiety within each of the subjects. Just as Spencer had predicted, Albert soon came to him. Unfortunately, Spencer had made one miscalculation. His failsafe only worked for as long as it remained a mystery. As soon as the mystery was revealed, Wesker no longer had a need to restrain himself. All that was impeding Wesker was a feeble old man on death's doorstep. The right to be a god. That right is now mine. With these words, Wesker broke from the shackles that Spencer had laid on him. It was only random chance that brought his former subordinates Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine to Spencer's mansion at that exact time, but Wesker took it as a sign. The weak would always resist the will of the chosen. With renewed purpose, Wesker reflected on his own evolution and the evolution of the human race. After the incident at the Spencer estate, he went underground and used the news of his death to veil his activities. He had achieved his goal of obtaining the virus and capital he needed from his position at Umbrella. Next, he put all his efforts into bringing his Ouroboros plan to fruition, and thereby setting himself up as a god over the new generation of humanity. And that's all the files. I really feel like they should have given us more information about Ouroboros throughout the game. Like, all we know is it is a virus. When it infects people, it either kills them outright and makes a bunch of leech-like pustules start consuming everything, or else it makes them strong, ? That's all we got. Like, seriously. They should have given us more on Ouroboros, but they didn't. Anyway, now that we're done reading the files, we're also done with this stream. Thanks for joining, watching, chatting, all that good stuff. We'll be back with the DLC chapters so that we can see the remaining stuff on Monday. See you then, friends.